Good evening, everyone.
Evening, Rendani.
Evening.
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 How is everyone doing? Are you well?
Yes, excited.
Excited. I like that. All right. Welcome. So lovely for everyone to join. So what we're going to just do today is to kick off the workshop. So it's going to be a very light session. We're not going to do quite a lot of technical stuff tonight, but it's just to at least make sure we are all on the same page in terms of what the workshop entails, what it's not, and what you can essentially expect. But also this particular opportunity, it's also for you maybe to lay out your expectations so that when we unpack the workshop as well as the specific APC paper that we'll be looking at, we know that it is going to meet the objectives that we have set and also your expectations. So it is very important for us to say that the workshop is intended to help you in this final couple of days, stroke weeks towards the APC 2022. So I'm sure you might have a lot of questions, especially the first timers, in terms of what to expect or how maybe you need to just be managing yourself in the next couple of weeks, days leading to the pre-release. So those are some of the things that we just want you to be mindful of. We'll then share guidance as you'll get to hear from the team around how what you should be doing with your team, what you should be doing to prepare your mind, how you should be doing some of the reflection regardless of which program that you've been with. Because at this particular point, you might be recognizing that, yes, I might have gotten here, but some of the LCs are still a part of me and I need to know how to overcome them in this couple of days heading to the APC 2022 December. So that is essentially what tonight it is meant to do. So you will get to also meet some of the key leadership that are driving the thinking or the thought process behind the workshop. And in terms of the specific team members that will be unpacking the different tasks that will be going through, that will then be what? That will then be introduced throughout our journey together. And I'm sure at this particular point, you might have seen the structure, and it is just a matter of what? Clarifying where and how to plan and manage yourself around it. So then essentially, in terms of the background, it is firstly myself that is just here to welcome everyone and to just feel free to engage with the team, feel free to engage with myself, ask questions, and participate as much as possible to get as much as possible from it. As we said, the workshop is open to everyone, whether you're a first timer, whether you are repeating, whether you were with EPC during the year or not, and whether you were with us, say, some years back, it doesn't matter. Everybody's welcome. Everybody will love them to feel free to take as much as possible from this particular workshop. Then next on the queue will then be just an outline and just unpacking what APC is all about. And remember, at this particular point, we acknowledge that everyone has got a certificate, and that's why they're essentially here because they are going to be sitting for the APC in 2022. So we'll just then touch in terms of what is really SAICA trying to do? Why in some instances we find that candidates miss it? What are some of those shortfalls, and therefore how are we going to use this workshop to really empower everyone here and increase their chances of what? Of success. So from EPC side, we've got our academic head, who is Mr. Mketi. He will be the one that will then be taking you through that kind of thinking and just unpacking. And this year, for the very first time, we're very excited to be partnering with Abasa Gauteng in terms of what? In terms of just bringing you the workshop and making sure that it also doesn't just have the technical elements, but also the emotional aspects of it. When I talk about emotional, it is just the recognition that as much as you may be super when it comes to, say, your technical, you will then remember, or you might have heard about what transpired in the 2021 assessment, where things that were really unexpected occurred. And when you find yourself there, it is really very important to understand that you will be expected to adapt to those challenges and really still be able to give your very best. Sometimes it does not come naturally. And the objective of the workshop is to really help you to prepare for some of those aspects. What if you find yourself there, your laptop is not working, you forgot your charger, you forgot your letter? How do you then keep yourself calm and be able to deal with the issues that you are facing on the day? And they've really packaged a nice session, which you will see that in the outline, it's referred to as match day mindset, just to make sure that when it comes to the mindset that you need to have, that it's not just a matter of dealing with the case study, but bringing yourself fully into the assessment. So those will then be the kind of aspects that they will then talk to you about and tell you about what they've installed in terms of what our day 6 and concluding session. Then what is quite important is also just the workshop administration, so that you are able to just easily find yourself around what we've put together. Because sometimes you might say that, yes, it's a new system to you. Maybe for some that will have been with us, they might say that, yes, as much as we've been here, this is something that is entirely different from the program. So we'll have just some admin issues that we'll want to iron out, so that also during the week, you make sure that you get all the announcement, you make sure that you find things quite easily. So that will be some of the things that we'll talk about just after the outlining of the APC workshop. Then thereafter, it will be a high level of the case study that we'll be looking at. So we'll not go into detail. You'll then see that then the objective of today is just to give you a framework of how to go about unpacking document 1, because document 1 really brings context of the entire case study by introducing the company and also the business model, the activity, the environment. And we just want to say that what is then the expectation with document 1 before you go to the rest of the documents that have got technical trigger. You'll then find that document 1 doesn't have that. And you just want to then say, how do you go about it? How do you then use it to structure the research? And what we'll then do, you'll then see in the schedule that you've got, that come the 23rd of, is it the 23rd? Yes, the 23rd of November, which is in 2 days' time. You will then get a screencast that goes through the background line by line. So what we're just going to do tonight will just be to just share with you and also allow you to ask some of the questions with regards to how you're supposed to engage with document 1. And once you are there, you'll then say that, let me go apply those things throughout maybe tonight, tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening. Then come tomorrow, Wednesday morning, you'll then have a detailed line by line analysis of the case study or document 1, which you will then need to then compare with your own evaluation or analysis of document 1, and you'll then be able to start bridging those gaps, seeing the models that we're going to talk about interacting and engaging with what will have been introduced. So that is really just the agenda for tonight. It's going to be a very light one, as I said, nothing too technical. So if you have not brought, say, your notes and so on, no need to worry, just unpicking where we are taking this. So that is just the high level before I hand it over to my colleagues. Any question, or was it, did I miss anything? All right. So no questions yet, or is there? All right, nothing. Fedi, are you in?
I am, thank you.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Good, good.
Good, good.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, team. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Rendani. As Rendani has outlined, my name is Ferdinand Muketi. I'm part of the professional team and the academic head, and really sharing Shilongi's excitement to be here and really to pave the last few steps towards the 9th to the 14th of December. It's going to be an exciting period, even more exciting. So I think my job tonight is quite a simple one, just to remind everyone, I think, as to what we're going to be sitting for over the 6 days that are coming between the 9th and the 14th of December. And it's quite an interesting one that I'm reminding you, but every one of you guys have the certificate. It means you understand what you are. If you look at the title of my slide, it says a responsible leader in business. And I just want us to take that moment one more time, pause, and to really think about what this profession and what the journey you've been through and the journey that lies ahead means. And it means the professional provider, the professional program provider has certified you at this stage that you are ready to be a responsible leader in business. That is quite scary, is it not? Is it not? If you're not feeling anything move, and I want you guys to really think, it really means you are a responsible leader in business. You're about to enter a profession that says you, from now on, will be a responsible leader in business. What does that mean? It implies that as a chartered accountant, you will always display professional values and attitudes. You have the full range of technical competencies. You've got a full range of technical competencies of a professional accountant, and those enabling competencies to demonstrate responsible leadership qualities in a specific domain. I just want to unpack it one more time using the 3 bubbles. What it means is that you've got the professional values and attitudes, or you will always display those professional values and attitudes. And what are those professional values and attitudes? Some of them is ethical leadership. You will always be ethical, not when it's convenient to do so, but always. You will be able to identify an instance of an impropriety, and you will be able to call it out when there is an element of ethical impropriety. You will have the courage to call out and not look the other way and say, I'm not involved or I'm not affected. When there is an element of impropriety in respect of ethics or ethical dilemma, you will call it out. That's number one. One other will be citizenship. You will always look out for the public interest. You are not going to be selfish. It's not saving your own personal interest, but at all times looking out for the interest of the public. Maybe one last example that I'll make that shows professional values and attitudes is an element of lifelong learning. That from now on, once you are declared to be this chartered accountant who is the responsible leader in business, is that you will continuously be seeking and be curious to learn and continue to learn. I mean, if you think you've been learning for so many years and you want to chill after this, I want you to retract from that and say, from now on, this is the start of those learnings, and I will continue being in class, learning about a whole wide different areas of business and otherwise. So I just want to remind ourselves of those professional values and attitudes, including the fact that you will always have the full range of technical competencies. It be strategy, risk management and governance, it be assurance and audit, it be financial reporting and accounting, it be tax, it be audit. You must always remember that you are the specialist in those areas. And you need to wear your area of expertise with pride and continuous learning and making sure that you upkeep those areas, that when I meet you 10 years later and I ask you how to work out a deferred tax and you don't say to me, geez, Fedi, I haven't done it over 10 years, so I can't share anything. You must have a view. And the enabling competencies, which is one of the cornerstones of this assessment, to say they're going to be assessing your ability to make decisions, what we call decision-making acumen. Are you able to make a judgment call when there is a need? How is your writing skill? How is your business writing and your communication skill? How does it look? Brandani spoke about forgetting that laptop charger, the level of stress that they're going to put you through on the day and during the 6 days. And for you to demonstrate that emotional resilience, because as we need more. We need more of you to demonstrate all those. So those are some of the enabling competencies that this assessment is assessing. And you've got to do it in a multidisciplinary case study that is evaluating all these different competencies in an integrated fashion. And this is the point when I say, ladies and gentlemen, do I say welcome to the profession at this point? Meaning, are you willing to sign up to being this responsible leaders in business for the rest of your life and demonstrate all these values, attitudes, competencies at all times. If you're willing, I guess you will tell me that, Fedi, I cannot wait for the 9th of December, or you can drop off the call right now. As Rendani pushes to the next slide. Rendani, you want to pick this one up, right?
I'll jump into it, but I believe Mukhumutsi and Malady are gonna jump through now.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. I'm not seeing the messages in the chat box as to whether there are people that have exited or are saying goodbye and exiting, and who is staying. And I'm not seeing people coming into the chat box to say, I'm here to stay, and I'm going to be that responsible business leader. Okay. And that was just my part for the evening, guys. And enjoy the workshop for those that have elected to be chartered accountants, and looking forward to an engaging 2-week period. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Fedi, I'm even inspired to say that I'm here to stay and rewrite the board exam. Thank you for those words. So by way of introduction, my name is Miladi Maditi. I've just joined on my phone because I'm having technical issues. So Rendani, can you please confirm if I'm audible?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. Good evening.
Okay, thank you so much. So my name is Miladi Maditi. I'm a qualified chartered accountant by profession. I'm currently serving as the deputy chairperson at Women of Abasa Johannesburg. So I'm here speaking on behalf of Abasa 20, Abasa Johannesburg, and Abasa National. So my job today is just to speak to you guys about day 6 of the session. So we've basically looked at what we can give candidates in order to prepare them for the APC exam. And one of the things we thought were really important is to just ensure that everyone, is mentally sound, mentally healthy, and just mentally prepared for the session, for the exam rather. So we are introducing on day 6 what we call a match day mindset session. So I mean, in my experience with the APC, there's a lot of focus on what you need to write, how you need to write it, you need to go in depth, you need to look at this, you need to do the necessary research, but there isn't much focus on the mental health that comes with it. And I think everyone here has done the board courses, and you guys are preparing for the board exam. So you know how physically and mentally draining the process of preparing for these exams can be. So our role is just to come in and help you guys and say, on certain occasions, there can be curveballs here and there. You could get into the exam and be stunned by a question that doesn't make sense, or you could get into the exam and your laptops don't work. We're hoping that doesn't happen this year. Or you could be dealing with personal issues. There's a lot of reasons why a person's mental health could take a knock. And we're just saying we're coming in to just help candidates to prepare mentally for the sessions. So the confirmed speakers we do have for our day 6 so far is Mr. Kaya Sitole. We have Dira Mutata from the AG, and we have Notolo Sukweba, who was on the honors roll for the 2021 exam. And we are also working on having a professional, a specialist in mental health to come in to speak to candidates. But yes, so lastly, I just want to say thank you to the team at Njinamo for this collaboration. I think it is important work that you guys, together with Abasa, are doing in ensuring that we enhance the profession and that we share some nuggets of wisdom along the way. So with that said, all the best to the candidates. We really do hope you enjoy the workshop, you leverage all the information that everyone's going to be sharing with you, and that you do your best in becoming responsible leaders, like Fedi did share. Mukhumutsi, I don't know if you've got anything else to add, but thank you from my side.
Thank you so much. Kumutsi. Good evening.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Rendani. I'm just trying to check if I'm actually audible.
All good. You may go for it.
Thank you so much. By way of introduction, my name is Mokumuti Komu, CA as well. Qualified this year. I was part of the people that wrote in last year's 2021 APC exams. I'd like to extend again gratitude and honor as well to Rendani and Ferdinand just to really allow us to be in terms of partnership with APASA and actually coming here today to share a bit of what we can actually give as value. I don't want to reiterate what as well Mel has said, but we are really grateful to be a part of this journey for you guys and to really emphasize the importance of this APC workshop. This refresher, as much as it came at a much high value where you don't have to pay for it. Please take it important, seriously in your preparations as well. It's very important to know that what we also bring to as our contribution is the mental health as well as fitness coming to the exam, because your preparation is so important, the technical and everything that was mentioned earlier on, but it's what you feel and how you're gonna come on the day that really matters. So everything else will either go to waste if mentally, body, mind, soul, you're not actually prepared yourself. And I think this is one thing that you really need to take into heart. And to my 2 cents to that is that every single day, build that awareness in that you are working on your future. You actually bring yourself forth to say you're going to claim this victory. And, to part it to you guys, I would like to also say that have a big why, not just to be a CA, to flaunt the status, but have a big why, have a big reason why you're here. Even if it's your family, stick to that. Let it be what actually makes you wake up. Let it be what actually pushes you to even push further and harder, and this process that Endunoma is really bringing to the platform, I would like you guys to really own it. As much as you have groups, you have friends that you're working with, own it, be the best that you can be out of it, and bring value to your colleagues as well that you work with. And we hope to really bring as well that awareness that we really want to bring forth, because we know even in the workspace, this is required where you have to be strong in mind. You may know technicals and all of that, but if you doubt yourself, everything will fall apart, and then just to close it out, for me, what I've learned is that before you can work on your work on yourself. Sorry, I think I just got muted. But just to reiterate, there is that work hard on yourself than you do on your job. If you're going to do that, you will be the best that you can be, and this you will conquer. So let's share, let's enable one another, and just remind ourselves that you are here to be successful. And I urge you all to really take ownership of this, and I trust that this will be a successful APC for you guys. Thank you, Rendani. Back to you.
Thank you so much, for those words. I couldn't agree more. I think, the part about, bringing yourself first and then the work into it, I think it's something that is generally not overemphasized in this industry and in what we do. And I think that's a very important part. And I think it really gets to align with what Philly was saying in terms of just being a responsible leader, because that doesn't require you to go to class. It really requires to be a person, to be a human, to be empathetic. And also, that is the journey that the CA profession for me, that I found that it really helps in terms of making you more aware and sharpening those skills as you grow into whatever you may be doing. And yeah, so thank you very much, everyone, Fedi, Melody, as well as Khomotsi, for just that high-level introduction in terms of how everyone needs to really bring themselves to the workshop. And I think for me, also to just take just one of the statements that was also shared by Khomotsi, just around ownership. We always, and as you will see when we go into the technical, we really believe in this concept of taking ownership of whatever you do. And even with the workshop, we'll want you to really do that. The quality of the engagements are really driven by that, because the last thing that you want is for this workshop to be delivered in a way that we believe will then be meeting, say, your developmental goals. Whereas you know what you need, you know where your shortfalls are. Maybe some of you actually wrote this paper and you found that you didn't do so well in it. So it might have been that during the year you've reflected. Now you're here, what do you really want to make sure that before the... Someone keeps muting me. So where was I? Oh yes, so just the point of ownership, that we want you to own this. We want you to say that, yes, this was delivered to everyone, but these were your key takeaways. So we don't want you to miss on that. And even now, when we then talk about the assessment or the case study that we are going to discuss, there are going to be quite a lot of diverse issues that we'll be exploring, the technical governance, ethics, and so on and so on. And we want you to then embrace the role that you are given and understand that the company that you will be working for, really picture and try to imagine that these are some of the colleagues that you've already worked with. And therefore, if you are to write something, if you are to bring something on the table, it has to really be your very best. I always challenge my candidates to just say that it is important that whatever you put on paper, it is something that you are able to defend. And this is the kind of attitude that I want you to also bring in this assessment. And I will then, for those sessions that I will be delivering, I'll be asking you quite a lot of whys, to just say, why are you telling me this? Why that? Why this? And so on and so on. And this for me is just to really help you to then do what? To then stop and say that, yes, if I'm to really be that responsible leader, I need to be confident in my responses. I need to have a response that I can be able to defend, that are well thought out. And those are really some of the elements of a professional, in addition to those technical aspects of it. And that's what we'll want you to do and take away as well from this particular workshop. So before we then go into the case study, I did mention that I just want to just talk to you in terms of how we've structured the workshop, and just to really entrench this concept of a partnership and ownership mentality into it. So firstly, in our kick-off session, as I've mentioned, the outline has been unpacked by the key members of the team. And then we're going to just talk about how to unpack document one. And even this one was a very interesting one because it was in a form of slides. So now how do you go about then applying that kind of thinking in a situation where it's not a narrative as you normally see, say, in a company profile? Then we will then talk about then the next couple of days. So just to then talk about it now is that we have in the workshop what we call reflection videos or reflection packs. So from now, the next time you engage with the workshop will then be on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, you will then be getting you'll be getting a detailed analysis of document 1 on a line by line as to how we will have expected you to think about it. And one of the things that we'll then be doing is that we'll be taking the role of the seniors, and you'll then be that entry-level chartered accountant. And why is that? Because we just want you to then think about as you're sitting there. You have already made some commitments to Fedi there, which I love. And I just want you to then say that, will I, after what I've committed, deliver or present this to Fedi as my seniors? Will he be impressed? Will he find that really I'm demonstrating competence in the responses or in my attitude and so on? So when we do then those reflection packs, the idea is to say that firstly, we will want you to go through the March 2022 APC, whether individually or with the team, whatever structure that you plan to be implementing or working on when it comes to the case study that you'll be sitting for in December. Happy. But we are saying that come Wednesday, we will then share with you our view as to how we will have dealt with what? We will have dealt with that document 1. Then on the next day, which is then Thursday, we'll then go through the other documents and about 3 documents at that point in time. And we'll then identify the technical triggers that are there, and also the kind of tasks that will then be expecting on the day. And you will see that as much as you will have had the hindsight of maybe saying, I've seen the IOD, we'll then just walk through just to say that had we been in that particular situation, this is what would have then expected you to then have thought about as part of the preparation or during a 5-day research period. So those are then delivered in a form of anything between 20 to 30 minutes. If it's very long, you are looking at about 40 minutes. So this is where we go through the respective documents line by line and just saying that if I'm to receive this email, how do I apply my critical thinking? How do I apply my business acumen skills and other enabling competencies that really help me to demonstrate my professional competence? So that is what we'll then be doing on those short videos. So then first one comes out on what? Comes out on the 23rd. 3 comes out on the 24th. And it's not a matter of listening and then making notes. It's a matter of then using them to challenge the notes that you then have. So maybe you're then saying that, oh, okay, so I've got 3 on Thursday. Then come Friday, we're then going to issue 4 more. So that means by the time or by the end of the week, you will have had a detailed analysis of the entire PRI, but delivered in separate sessions over the respective days as outlined in the timetable. Then over the weekend, we don't have a session. And we understand that some of you may be in a position where we are saying that right now, maybe you are busy negotiating your leave, so you'll unlikely be unable to put hours during the week in order to work through the PRI. So we are saying that's fine. You've got the weekend to work through that. And by that time, everything that you will need will then be accessible via my universe. Then we'll then say that if maybe you had already done the work and you've got an opportunity to meet with the team, then discuss it so that you can start ironing out this part of the assessment. Because the part of assessment of identifying and working on the trigger, it's so significant. You cannot underestimate its value. Otherwise, it will work against you. So we are saying that when you see a technical trigger, how do you become an expert in it? That's what the reflection packs will then be helping you to do. How do I become an expert in the technical trigger? That is what that is given. Then next week we're then saying that we've all gone through the reflection packs, and the evening sessions that you've seen that we have scheduled will then be going through the document that relates to what was previously triggered, as well as the task. So there at that time, we are saying that now you've gotten into the assessment and you are reading this. What is then the expectation? How do you approach it? How do you know? And the most common question, how do I know when to stop? How do I know that I've hit enough credits such that I'm a C and therefore I can move on? Because some of those things are some of those aspects that can become a time trap. What if I'm on fire and I'm seeing just everything wrong with this? What if I'm not seeing anything wrong with this? And so on and so on. So those are then some of the things that we'll be unpacking. And you'll see as we unpack, one of the key themes will be the theme of critical thinking, critical reading, critical analysis, where now all these things that are then put before you, when we, or after we have unpacked them with you, you'll then get to see that, oh, wait, actually, Psycha is really our friend in this in this journey. They really want us to become chartered accountants. And that's the kind of attitude and the kind of really feeling that we'll want you to get at the end of at the end of our engagement. So next week you'll have Asen working through with you accounting. Myself, I'll then be on the math side. We'll then have L10 that will be on the strategy risk management side, and we have Kumu, who's our governance leader, as well as Madodonke, who will be working with you through the text task. So it's a really diverse team that you will then be engaging with next week, and you'll get to see that as much as we are talking about the same assessment, and as much as we are all CAs, the way we approach it, the way we approach the task might be different. And therefore, you might also be at a point where now you're saying that, oh, if I'm not like a Fedi, then I will be fine. I will still get my Cs and even HCs. If I'm not like a Rendani, I'll still be fine. And that's just what we also want you to embrace in this workshop, the diversity in the team, as well as in the approach, so that by the time we are done, you've got different ways and different mechanisms that you can also adopt in order to find yourself securing what? Securing a successful outcome. And you'll get to see that the approach that we also adopt, it's really not limited to just the case study assessment. We want you to be professionals beyond the program. And accordingly, we want you to then take some of the key lessons and get to what? And get to apply them beyond the program. So let me see, my lighting is getting dark. Is it back? Okay, yeah, that's better. So that is the structure that will then be having. So in terms of how we'll then be communicating with each other through the workshop, there is, when you log in on my universe, there is what we call a notice board. And the notice board really captures some of the more key announcements that we'll be sharing with you during the program, or during the workshop rather. And in them, there's what we call a welcome note. So the welcome note will then capture where you find things like, where do I find the videos? Where do I find the announcement? Where do I find so on and so on? So even the contact details of the team members are included in them. So you will have that what? You will then have that welcome note, and you will then see that it then unpacks the structure that I've shared with you. So please read it carefully so that you don't miss any aspects of the workshop. So we've got 2 weeks together. So it is very important that you are able to do what? You are able to maximize it. So someone's mic is open. So that is number one. So the welcome note is what will then want you to then just download, have it with you. One of the things that is in the welcome note that I just want you to then pay a careful mind to it, it's the WhatsApp link. So we've got a WhatsApp link that we have created, and the WhatsApp link is essentially for you. So this is the link that the other candidates will be in. So if you want to then just check, maybe you want to confirm whether the exam letters have been sent out, whether how the laptop issues are working out, and so on and so on. So maybe some of you might have already engaged with SciCam, they might have already given a response. So it could be that platform that you use just to share some updates from SciCam or just around the assessment. Additionally, you can use that group in order to just engage with our admin team. So for something, maybe you're saying that I'm here and I'm trying to get this, I'm not seeing this or this, it's not there, and so on and so on. That is the quickest way to reach our admin, especially if it's something that affects more than just yourself. Then additionally, we are also there in the WhatsApp group, us being the professional team, where now if you've got a query, you can drop it in them. So maybe you're saying that I did go through the PRI. I now have gone through the reflection video. I've realized that I missed the trigger altogether. How do I go about making sure that I don't find myself here? Come there, the APC in the next couple of months, and other technical issues that you might be having. We are all there, and you have the opportunity to ask us of such. So the WhatsApp group is something that, as I'm saying, it's yours. So please, if you are keen, you are more than welcome to join. And it does get busy. I know some of you get really excited. I don't know whether it's just seeing other candidates or just the APCs that are exciting, but I know some of you are very excited or get very excited in there. So it is something that maybe you are saying that it's one of those tough days and you just want to relax. So they are really the CAs that have got a sense of humor, and you'll get to see it in there. So I'll do what? I'll really encourage you to consider joining the WhatsApp group. So apart from the WhatsApp group, we've got a general, we call it a discussion forum, where now we post, say, maybe some of the daily updates. So once we've uploaded something, we post it in there. And once, if there is any updates to the schedule that we publish, then we'll post it in there. So currently, when you go and play around, you'll see that there's a message that I've posted just in terms of what? Of welcoming you into the workshop. So give it a couple of just minutes and play around with it. It's really not an extensive menu, so that you just make sure you are able to find a way around it once the workshop is started. And also there's an opportunity to activate notifications. If you're saying that I'm not the one that will normally be logging in and they're going to check the latest notification, there is an option to click a notification bell where now all the notification or new updates that are posted will be sent to your registered email. So please just play around with it. If you are stuck, the APC caretaking team are there to just help you to get over anything that you might have a challenge with. Then Yes, I think yes. From an administration perspective, as well as the structure, that's just about it. Any questions for myself, Fedi, Mkhumutso Meladi, before we get, I call it the fun stuff. So you can imagine my sense of humor if I get excited about the case study. But yes, before we get to the fun stuff, any questions? All good? All right. I don't see any chats. So we can then jump into it.